No, that's fucking.
Van Halen's the band.
Van Halen's the band.
Yeah. I get
Obviously,
that.
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen was like the lead singer. Man, I never really.
So Eddie Van Halen is that?
He was the
is
guitar-
the actual lead singer?
No, he was the guitarist, wasn't he?
So what was
The
his
lead
name?
singer was.
He was a Van Halen, wasn't he? No, Alex Van Halen.
No.
That was the drummer, Alex Van Halen. Yeah, he's quite a big guy, isn't he now?
Oh, I can't remember the lead singer of Van Halen, and it's
Because they had two singers.
Davy Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth,
was the lead singer.
but did he replace?
He did Jump, didn't he?
Yeah, did he replace whoever it was, or was he the original? Because they had two periods. They had one with
early.
David Lee Roth, and then one with
That was the
somebody
later
else.
period, because that was when Jump was, what, 8? When was Jump? 89?
I don't know.
Something like that. It was 80s,
It
wasn't
would have been
Yeah.
the 80s, yeah.
Because they got big with Gene Simmons discovered them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did their first thing, and he just loved them.
I see. This is the thing. Like I said earlier, that I haven't been exposed to that kind of music when I was young. So obviously, now getting older, watching films that I watched when I was younger.
YouTube's brilliant for stuff
I kind
like
of like catch on to certain songs, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what was that song? And then you look into it.
But,
Jump, there you go, 1984.
But I was never huge on Eddie Van Halen, but
To be fair, I was similar to you. I didn't really know about him as a kid.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in the zeitgeist per se. You had to know about rock music. I think.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And then being a kid, you just went with pop music.
They were part of that glam rock.
So I
scene,
didn't even
weren't
know names, but mid-90s I started hearing about him. And then I saw him do a guitar solo, and it was like, what the f...
they? Yeah, he was insanely talented.
He shredded that thing up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's arguments about they put him up there. Everyone says Hendrix, and then you got Clapton and there's a few others, but
Yeah.
there's quite a lot of people that think Eddie
Yeah.
Van Halen was...
That he's up there. He's in the upper echelon, isn't he?
He can be in the conversation to be the greatest guitarist of all time.
Serious?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's-
well, yeah, 100% on that.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's often-
maybe I need to do some educating.
Yeah.
Mate, see some of his guitar solos.
Yeah.
He invented, because he started with a guitar that he built himself,
Right.
and he invented something on the guitar. I can't remember what it was, and then it made a certain sound, and he became very good at it. And he started doing the wow bar as well, but he started doing notes that people weren't doing before.
Wasn't finger picking, was it?
Something like that. I watched something the other night. He basically started with a
Or
guitar.
sweet picking
yeah,
or something.
he did. Yeah,
Because there was a lot of
something.
sweet picking in the 80s, where
But he was that good. He built his own guitar, and he added a bit to it to make this sound.
Right.
And because he was that good, and then he played the guitar all the time. It's got like all these lines. It's a red guitar with all these lines, white lines on it or something. But he was that good though.
So
Yeah,
he's
he was.
like considered like a pioneer in that genre of music.
Rock,
Yeah.
guitar
he's
god,
he's a guitar god, man.
like Slash, all them. Yeah, he's
A lot
up
of them.
there.
He's up there.
A lot of them. I mean, I like I said, I was never like massive on Van Halen, but even I was listening to him being like, yeah. When the big songs would come on, I'd be like, yeah, this is a good time.
'Cause
easy to listen to.
From my perspective, like I know all about Jimi Hendrix, like well into Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
So if you say if I like Jimmy, then definitely look into Van Halen.
I mean, they're
Oh,
different.
100%.
Yeah, they're different kind of players.
Yeah,
But
Hendrix was more bluesy, and
Yeah,
he's-
but I
he was.
can appreciate the artistry on
Yeah,
the guitar.
definitely.
So
You see the finger work that he does in it. It's
Yeah.
crazy the way he's moving up and down that fret, and it's just like whoa, mind blowing. It really is.
and that was massive for the 80s, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And he was very much like.
he could have been in a better
forefront of it.
band though. His
Really?
skills, I think, yeah, because like you said,
Well,
like
they were one of the biggest bands of the 80s, Van Halen.
it was very much that Def Leppard era though. Do you know
Glam
what I mean?
rock.
And that
That's
glammy
what it was.
rock,
It was very
yeah,
glam rock
big
stuff.
hairdo, spandex,
Leopard
like
print.
Motley
Leopard-
Crue,
like
sort
Motley
of thing.
Crue.
yeah,
Yeah.
Motley Crue. Do you know what I mean? But they were the nasty boys, so they were sort of all right. But there was a lot of dodgy, like Def Leppard. You look at them in the 80s, so bloody hell.
Yeah, it was like
Sorry,
massive
Hairspray
hair
and-
Okay,
Like-
Def Leppard's another group.
They're another good band, yeah.
They were
Okay.
from Nottingham or something, weren't they? Or Birmingham?
They're English, but
So many
maybe
rock
Birmingham.
bands, you know.
Come out the UK.
Because
So many, like Wolverhampton. It's crazy for like rock bands.
Yeah.
I think didn't Iron Maiden come out from the Midlands as well?
they're from Birmingham. I'm 90% sure they're from Birmingham.
Oh wow.
Because heavy metal basically started in Birmingham with Black Sabbath. And
I've heard of them before.
yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. He's
Yeah.
he's got to be one of my favourite.
The origin was London.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you had a lot of kind of metal coming from Britain, and then during the 80s, you had what was called the new wave of British heavy metal, which was like bands like Iron Maiden,
Yeah.
Judas Priest,
It's a massive sweep as well, wasn't
Yeah.
there? There was so many.
and a lot of them
I didn't
went
even know.
big. Yeah.
No.
I thought they were American because of the way they were set up, and you'd see them on the stage was
Yeah.
very 80s American, big lights, big hair,
Kind of like that
spandex.
Very
studio,
dramatic.
studio rock.
and they looked American,
and then
but they were selling
yeah.
big.
And then from there they kind of went into like glam rock, which
Yeah.
is more the kind of like Kiss, Def Leppard stuff,
Right.
or kind of more towards like thrash metal, and then you
Okay.
get the big
So
four
you had
of
the
metal.
T-Rex was early 70s glam rock as well,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
they were
That's
kind of-
considered as glam rock.
Yeah, that's relatively glam rock.
Yeah, they were sort of almost the first glam rock bands actually, because you also had Noddy Holder in
Fuck. What were they
Christmas
called?
number ones as
So,
well, wasn't it?
rock-
Slade.
Yeah, Slade. Yeah.
They were a very glam
I've
rock
heard
band
of
as
them,
well.
but never listened to any of their music.
Yeah.
Like
You
these
know-
names get thrown about, but
The thing with Slade is because they had those Christmas number one, you just know them for that.
Yeah,
It's
you'll
Christmas,
know
do
them
you know what I
for
mean?
Christmas.
But some of their
they're
other
the ones
stuff,
that do that.
yeah, some of their other stuff's actually quite good.
Okay.
Do you know-
Yeah.
It is very glam rock. Do you know what I mean? It's all
Yeah.
glitter and stardust. And,
Well, I quite like. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking off terms here, but I quite like AC/DC.
Yeah, they're
I'm quite
they're
into
more,
them at the moment.
They're more
as
kind of
well.
like
they are
classic
rock.
rock,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're brilliant.
Yeah.
They're one of my favourite bands of all time. They're definitely up there.
Yeah, that Back in Black track's like
See, I
my favorite.
was never really.
So
I
many
never
good
liked
moves.
the Brian Jones.
Really?
Yeah, much prefer Bon Scott.
Bon Scott's brilliant.
Yeah.
Him
His-
playing the bagpipes
Yeah.
is fucking awesome. Do you
Honestly,
know what I
I
mean?
think the first few albums with Bon Scott
There's a rawness to him.
has a rawness to him, and it's simple fucking meat and potatoes rock and roll. That's all
Yeah.
it is. And then once he died, that's when I think they become too.
What commercial sort of a bit more
Yeah,
like
you know,
you two a bit sort of
Yeah, you shook me. I mean, Back in
Shook
Black
Me All
album
Along
had
is brilliant, man.
that had some great songs, and they did have some good songs from
Yeah.
Brian Jones.
So
but
you
I
know,
prefer
for
the-
like modern day rock, like in terms of now,
Oh.
like rather than growing your hair long, you grow your beard long.
yeah,
So because you're
I
part
don't
of-
know where rock is nowadays with new rock. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's-
It's funny, isn't
Well,
it?
too
You
many-
tend to, when
yeah.
you get older, you tend to hunker back to what you know. Do you know what I mean? Don't get wrong, you do look in other
Yeah,
places,
yeah.
and I have to start looking definitely more at new music. But rock-wise, I wouldn't have a clue.
well, the problem is, I mean, for me, is that people are too much like
gimmicky.
No, they're just too much like, oh, you know, rock's got to make a comeback and that kind of stuff, and it's like it didn't go anywhere.
Do you think
Yeah,
the
yeah.
soul's dropped out of music?
No, I don't
nowadays?
think it has.
In
I think-
certain genres.
I think what the problem is that now music is so much easier to make,
Yeah.
and it's so much like we could release a song, and then and distribute it and get it on Spotify by the end of the day,
yeah.
Yeah.
like, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't be any good,
But it'd still
but
be.
it's still out there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's the thing. It's just it's
It's
so much
saturated,
easier
isn't it?
that anybody can put stuff out.
But to be good though.
But
that's
to
the
be good,
difference.
it's a different thing.
Yeah.
So the band you're part of,
Yeah.
Slow Tapes. What genre does that fall under?
Probably say indie rock.
Indie rock.
Yeah,
It's what mid-90s indie rock, or sort of new wave indie rock.
a bit
down these,
yeah, a bit more. I don't even know how to describe it. A bit more early 2000s indie.
So
with
if you-
a
Right,
bit
because
of-
when I think of indie, I go back to the 90s.
See, I
sort
think
of
the
British
80s.
bands in the 90s.
I always think the 80s.
So
Really?
Yeah, New Romantic.
I'm more
That kind of
90s.
So
indie for me is very much 90s.
Rob. So if you
It's-
had to compare, sorry Al,
No, no.
if you had to compare your band to like another band, like one that's not saying yours isn't famous,
Yeah, I
but
know what you mean.
like one that's like quite successful, like what?
I'd probably say Foals.
Foes.
Yeah,
The
Foals.
fu- I have no idea.
No, so they're like they're an indie band.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's kind of like upbeat music,
Yeah.
but not bubblegum, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it's
Slightly
more-
off the agenda.
Yeah. So
enough
it's,
to be.
it's got melody and it's got harmony to it,
Yeah.
and it's kind of about.
I
Less
guess
is
because
more
there's,
kind of
there's so
stuff.
many different branches for rock, isn't there? There's
Yeah.
like so many different like subgenres. That Royal Blood was really good. I really
Yeah.
enjoy their album, but they're not similar to you, are
No,
they?
they're not
in-
similar to
in
us at all.
terms
They're
of
heavier.
genre?
They're like
Yeah.
they're more like rock, whereas we're more like lighter. So we're less focused on like like big riffs.
Yeah.
Like rock is kind of like built on big riffs. So stuff like Back in Black, You Shoot Me All Night Long. A lot of rock music is kind of centered around the riff, whereas indie music's more kind of about melody harmony, and the kind of lyrical
the
side.
change in the.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're more in line with.
So the leader Van Halen,
Yeah.
he's just
Well, there was
recently-
two.
So
No, not the
two-
leader.
lead
He was
singer.
two-
Sorry, excuse
The
me.
lead singer's still alive.
There were two
Oh,
brothers.
he's
David
still
Lee
alive.
Roth, yeah, and then Van Halen were brothers. It's the guitarist that's died.
The guitarist.
65 as well, wasn't he?
Died
Young
of
again,
cancer.
man. Again,
Cancer.
Again.
Yeah,
Oh,
young
wow.
again, man.
65, mate. It's fucking atrocious.
When I was young, I was like, 65. That's like an old person dying.
It's
But
middle
as
age
I've-
now.
Yeah, as I've gotten older,
60.
I've kind of
Is
realised.
Well,
that
you do,
because
'cause
you were like, oh, actually, it's not that old.
yeah, like
it
no,
really
like,
is
it's not
old.
that old, man. And I'm thinking like people dying at 65, and
It's
I'm like,
young.
and I'm like, fuck, that was
Yeah,
young.
that's a young age, man, to die
Yeah.
at 65, definitely. Because
But-
you see, most 65-year-olds are pretty active as much as a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old. So it's seen as like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Normally, your health starts going downhill around about 70.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cognitive decline is it?
Yeah,
73
things
or
start
something.
shit goes wrong. It might not be major things, but it'll be minor things. But generally, you start.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the worst thing is that you, in this country, you have to work to what, as a man, you're
66,
65,
68?
66.
Yeah, it is
60, I think it's 66.
So basically, and then you've got 5 years. Thank you for all the life that you've done and all the taxes you've paid. You've got 5 years you can't.
Before
And
you
you're too
start getting
fucked to
fucked.
actually live it.
Yeah,
So you're fucked. So bye-bye.
you have no energy because you've been working for like 45 years.
I mean, you could take all your money and like go off to like somewhere like in the Bahamas.
Yeah, but you'll
and
need the
just
money to
plant
take
your
the care
dick
of
in
your
the
fucking
sand.
body that's going downhill
Yeah,
rapidly.
because you're
That's
shitting
the
yourself
irony of it.
and,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? You're going to spend
Yeah.
it on a
Brain's
fucking
going.
care home, and they're going to get the money off you again. The cunts.
Yeah, life's fucking brutal.
It is really. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? As soon as
Yeah.
you're born, you're fucked.
You have 18 years or 16 years of being like, okay, I could test this out.
Chaperoned and sort of
It's
kept
like
under umbrella.
the free
and,
trial, and then you hit 18 and you're just fucked.
yeah, it's like
Get a
Prime
job.
suddenly taking that £99 a month. It's like, fucking hell.
And then you can't cancel your subscription.
You're on it for
Well, you
life.
can, but it's frowned upon.
And at the end of it, they then sting you for another one. And the irony is, when you die, your family still have to pay for you. Because
Yeah,
you still
that's
got
true.
death. You got to pay for fucking funeral costs.
And
fucking
if you
casket.
don't leave like power of attorney,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
shit
the
gets
state will
taken.
take it as well.
State-
and then
yeah.
they used to have, what is it, inheritance tax as well. That
I
used
think-
to be
have
going.
They still got inheritance tax. Is it
Didn't
just
they
not
drop
high?
it? Or they dropped
They lowered
it down, yeah.
Well, they changed the
That's
threshold a
sick
bit.
as well. So you work hard and you
Yeah.
think, "Do you know what, kids? I ain't going to get to spend it because it doesn't work like that. I'm
Yeah.
going to give it to you." And then the government go, "Haha, fuck off.
Yeah, we're taking
We're
about
having some of that, you
20% of that.
motherfucker. Because you haven't got enough money that you fucking spunk up the wall."
The threshold's £325,000 before you have to pay taxes.
It's fucking sick. It should be. It should be
Yeah.
nothing. It
So
should-
what is it?
What
the,
you
the
Yeah, but
get?
then-
threshold- Hold on, wait.
come on.
The threshold's
I don't know.
what?
325,000,
Yeah.
I think. But then,
It used to be less. So at least that's a fair chunk. But
It's
do you know
a
what I mean? If
chunk.
you work all your life though and you have pensions and property, that's not an unreasonable amount nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people can hit 325,000
Yeah.
through accumulating stuff.
Yeah,
But
like
then what-
Cars,
property,
houses, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
but then one of the dangers is then you get like aristocrats or people from fucking money, and then when they die and they leave like a 21-year-old kid several hundred million,
Yeah.
they don't pay no tax on it because they find little loopholes through it.
But you wouldn't say shit if you were that fucking
course I wouldn't.
17-year-old.
Of course I would have, man.
You're fucking balling.
Yeah, I'd be balling.
Fuck your taxes.
Yeah.
I'm fucking living.
Do you know what though? Speaking on death.
Because it's so nice.
Yeah,
Speaking on
because that I
death.
got along.
Me and
Because a
Dev
lot
get
of
off
things
that.
are fucking
Yeah.
dying with
Everything's
with,
fucking
with
dying.
COVID. Cinema.
Oh yeah, man.
Cinema.
That's fucked up, man. That's
Yeah.
really fucked up because
Well,
that's a lot of people out of work.
Yeah.
No, I used to love going to Cineworld, man. I could never go when I was young because my family were just too broke. But once I got to like teenager and I could start going, I loved it, man.
Yeah.
Is this an urban myth? I heard this years ago, and I don't know if it's true or not. But there's no clocks in cinemas because they don't want you to know the time. It's like in casinos in America.
I know
You
they
know
don't
that you
in
get free
casinos.
drinks in
Yeah.
casinos. They ply you a drink to get you
No,
bet.
they-
I've
It's
never
clocks
seen
in
it.
cin- yeah,
no,
there
I've
is.
never seen a clock in the
There
cinema.
is.
Where?
Where?
If you look on what time, what the screening rooms, it says the time on there.
Yeah, but it has the time of when it starts.
No, it also has what time it is.
But
now.
that's it. But there's no clocks or anything around.
There will be.
I've never seen
I
one.
mean, there'd be
but I don't know if it's true or an urban
Well,
myth.
I
But they
think it's
always
an
used to
urban
say
myth.
because they want to let you forget about time.
I mean, at the
But-
foyer, there'd be
yeah.
like a time on the
there's a
the
time on the
screen,
screen.
to
But not
say-
as in per se clocks or anything around. I've never
But
seen
I mean,
them.
that's
Yeah,
not
but who needs-
necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be looking at the fucking clock when you're watching.
That's what I think
James
it was.
Bond,
Yeah,
do
you want to lose time. That's what
Yeah.
they want you to do. Is lose
Yeah.
track of time in
Don't
there.
forget, they're supposed to be as well oiled and have people in and out in a quick time so they can
Well,
maximize
now they
profits. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, I remember like one of my early memories of going to Cineworld was I think it was 2004, so I was about 12. Actually, 2004, 2006, and the remake of The Hills Have Eyes come out,
Okay.
and I was
Was that the very first time you went to the cinema?
no,
was
no, it wasn't
Oh,
the
right.
first time I went, but that's when I remember going a lot. I was 12, 14 years old, and I was always trying to sneak in to see it because it was an 18, and I was always getting caught, always getting kicked out, man.
Happy. I wonder if. Do you think kids do that nowadays?
No, you just download it.
What was your?
What
You just download what?
films?
Like nowadays, kids
Oh.
would
no,
just
yeah, you
download
don't
the
need
film.
to do that. You can just
Yeah,
fucking
you
go
just
and
download it. But I would.
Yeah.
They're missing out on so much
I
stuff.
know.
You know
I'd buy
what
a
I mean?
ticket for one
The
film.
innocence,
Yeah.
shit
Taking
like
a
that.
date to the cinema.
Yeah.
What's the first film you ever went to the cinema to see? Can you
Space
remember?
Jam that I can remember, and you remember the chairs? They fold up, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was too small, so I had to sit on the folded up bit.
Oh, right.
And then some like lady behind me was well pissed, but I don't give a shit because I was watching MJ
Yeah,
against
Space
the Toon Squad. Not against the Toon Squad, against the Monsters. That was so sick. I remember then as a kid because obviously Looney Tunes and like MJ
Yeah.
teamed up together, and it's like, yo, this is amazing. And I can just remember I sat there with my brother and I was watching it, and I was just like, it's huge, isn't it? As a
Yeah.
kid, everything's
Yeah, it's
just
massive.
fucking massive, and like this screen was just like watching them play, and it was just like great.
Yeah.
And like you didn't want it to end, and then when it ended, you're like, oh no, I gotta go home. Like,
See, I remember having this
What was yours?
conversation with my parents, and they were like, the only time we would go if you were young is when we were on holiday. So, yeah, because we were that broke,
Yeah.
man.
We went once as
Yeah.
a family to the cinema
Yeah.
in my entire life.
So when I got to about,
And it's the first time I went as well.
when I got to like 10, 12, I think we started to go. I think first film I remember seeing was probably Phantom Menace. Because my
Really?
dad was a massive Star Wars fan. I'm a massive Star Wars fan.
Oh.
I was watching them on VHS when I was growing up.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my mum and dad, one of their first dates was to go and see Star Wars. I think they saw like 2 of them back to back. I'm not sure.
Is that how you were created?
Probably,
Your mum
man.
dressed up as Princess
Oh,
Leia.
I don't know, man. Don't be
I
making
reckon
me think
so,
that,
you
man.
know.
But
Dad got his lightsaber out.
mum got raw dog.
Isn't it?
yeah, cheers.
Donuts
cheers,
in
yeah.
the ears because couldn't afford it. Just stuck some donuts on the side of the road. Come on then.
Had to bake
that
our
Bob
own,
Gene
man.
or
Couldn't
Mum's
afford
later?
it. Yeah.
What was yours then?
Looking at
Al?
an Ewok.
The very first Ghostbusters film.
Oh,
As a
sick.
Ghostbusters one.
Yeah. Well,
With
yeah, that's
the-
normally the first one.
Well, I don't know if they've done any previous ones, but
yeah.
the first one was the one with
Dan
Dan
Aykroyd,
Aykroyd,
and
Bill
what's the
Murray,
name
Bill
from
Murray.
Aliens
Sigourney Weaver,
Sigourney Weaver.
and
Rick
Marshmallow
Moran-
Man.
Rick
Yeah, the
Moranis.
very first one. We all went to see that as the family, and that was the only time that we ever went as a family.
I
And
don't
then the second time I went on my own,
Yeah.
me and my mate went to see The Land Before Time,
Oh, sick
which
film.
is a fucking cartoon.
How old were you?
Oh, this is back
The
in the
Land
day.
Before Time.
Yeah,
It's
so
about the
Disney.
dinosaurs, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we took some
I know,
girls
I know.
to the cinema. It was the old sort of when do I
Yeah.
put the arm around her? You know what I mean? It took about 45 minutes.
Anna and his friend had been practicing kissing before, you know. They
Kissing
wanted
the
to
hand.
test it out.
Yeah, man. It was
The old popcorn trick
Yeah.
as well.
no, not back then. Didn't know about that, man.
Didn't have any.
Didn't have the money for popcorn.
Didn't have any hair on the stones, did you?
Didn't have no shillings, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trupney bit.
Yeah. Man, I'm so glad it's closed down there.
Yeah,
I used to
man.
love it.
Yeah,
man.
it is shit though, man. Because it
We're supposed to be only for this year. They're banking on James Bond.
that killed it.
That's what
we were
closed
talking about.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
But
they
I don't-
Tennant kept them afloat, and they
Just
thought
about, yeah.
yeah, that was just keeping them afloat, and then they were banking on Bond because that's normally the biggest film in the UK of the year if it ever
It's
gets
a big
released.
draw.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. And then when they went, no, that was it.
But you can't rely on one film to save
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I think it
I'm
was.
alive.
In this climate, though, you can sort of understand, though, why they were doing that.
I could understand.
They had
it,
no choice, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I can't
it's
remember
sad.
what media outlet it was, but they wrote up an article saying that Tenet was the reason why cinemas are closing. Like, really digged into them and said that one of the main reasons. I thought they were one of the main reasons that people actually started going back to the cinema.
Well,
yeah.
It's I think I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think at the moment it's only made about between 300 to 400 million, so it needs to make another 250, 300 minimum
it's not, though.
What,
Is
to
it?
break even?
before it breaks even.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're...
Yeah,
I
There-
thought it did really well.
it
did, but-
it didn't have anything to challenge it.
Yeah.
But in
um,
today's climate, though, you can't... That's what it should do in a normal,
Let's do-
everyday
yeah.
world,
Yeah,
yeah. Do you know what I mean? But
normal
you can't,
week,
because...
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Going to the cinema, as much as you want to enjoy the experience, like they said, you just couldn't do it.
It's I
It
just
was
too
too
many people.
paranoid as
yeah,
well.
too paranoid. You know.
It only takes one person to cough. Even if they haven't got anything, do you know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
sat there and you hear someone coughing, and you hear coughing all the time in the cinema, it's part and
Yeah.
parcel of it. But now you hear someone cough, suddenly you're fucking...
I'm thinking I ain't coming
Test the
back.
cunt now!
Mate, don't even do that. Just get a nail and a hammer, just put them down.
Do you know, it does fuck with your head, though, man. It does. Because I went Lidl about 2 months ago, and I came back and I told Rob about this. I went in Lidl, and lucky I was in front of this fat motherfucker. But she had no... Well, she had a mask, but she did the whole thing of just pulling the mask down like that. What the fuck? What, you just keeping your beard? Fucking, you hairy motherfucker. She coughed all the way round, and it was a
Really?
dodgy cough. And luckily, I stayed in front of her.
Yeah.
I'm not getting behind you, you fucker.
You can't risk it, man.
No,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
I got really paranoid. And you could see other people. And I came back and I said, do you know what? If there's an outbreak and it's around Gloucester area, it's going to be
Get her.
because of her. Because honestly, she was
Yeah.
really coughing her guts
Yeah,
up.
some people just don't have no consideration.
It's weird,
do
isn't
they?
it?
No.
I mean, I had to go into when I came into town last. I had to get some vape juice, and I'd left my mask at home, so I
They
was
wouldn't
like,
let you
in
in?
there. No, they let me in, but I then had to buy some in there. But I was so paranoid, man. I went into the co-op opposite, and I was like, they'll probably have some in there. Didn't have any, and I was seeing the security guard seeing me, everything. I was thinking I was going to get like dragged out and just like killed.
It's ridiculous because it's not
Madness.
law.
Isn't it?
No. It's not actual mandated law. They just, it's advisory. Do you know
government
what I mean?
advisory?
They're just a thing that they advise to do, and shops ask you to do it. But there's no law that says you have to wear a mask at the moment. In Italy,
Yeah.
they just brought it in.
But
You
I
have
think
to, it's
Well, it'd be hard
mandatory
to-
to...
it would be
I
hard
think
to pass
shops
it.
can refuse your entry.
Yeah,
if
well,
you
we
don't wear
went
them.
a couple of weeks ago. We wanted to go for a breakfast on Sunday,
Yeah.
and we went to a couple of cafes in town. Not a chance. The irony is, you have to walk to the counter with a mask on to
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
do it, and then you sit down and take your mask off,
Yeah,
and then
it's
they bring
weird.
you your fucking food,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, because Corona knows. Oh, I can't go there, but it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Clever.
You should wear like a gimp mask.
Yeah.
And that way you can unzip it when you eat.
Sometimes I've had to go into shops with a fucking coat over me, like some fucking
Like Nosferatu,
fancy-
yeah.
like some vampire that's about to kill some virgin.
Yeah.
Give me your woman. And then you're standing there, people are going, oh, it's all right. And you're going, oh, sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot my mask.
And I'm half deaf, so I can't hear people.
This is the other thing
Yeah.
that's fucking confusing me. I've seen people go out with these fucking masks on with the white side out. And then I've seen other people with the blue side out.
I think it's different
I've spent
masks,
10
man.
minutes going around the supermarket changing it because I think it's the wrong way round. I ain't got a fucking clue. And then I'm getting
Yeah.
paranoid thinking, hold on.
I've now got
Everyone's now wearing it white, so I better change it to white. And then someone's wearing blue.
But if you
And then,
wear-
oh, fuck, I've got to change it to blue.
If you wear a white, then you're copying. And if you wear a blue, then you're standing out, man. And you're too weird.
Yeah, but what way's the right way?
I think blue on the
I-
outside is
I
the
don't
right
think,
way.
yeah, I think they were two different masks. I don't think they-
No, these are all the standard. No, these are all
Oh, yeah,
standard
it's just
fucking
two different
NHS
masks.
No,
I
you
think-
dickhead. These are all standard NHS masks that you get, which are either blue and white. But I've seen people wear them blue, and I've seen people wear them white.
I think blue
Oh,
on the outside, from what I've heard.
I think you've been watching too much Tenet, mate.
yeah.
What's Tennant got to do with it?
I ain't seen it, so.
Like going back.
No. Right, watch when you next go out, yeah? When you go around supermarkets and shops, and you will see people that have the white side out.
Well,
and then
they're
you will
just
see other
fucking
people with the
idiots,
blue
aren't
side.
they?
But who knows which is the right way? You don't know which is the right way.
Well, I don't have one of those masks.
exactly.
I'll tell you one thing, fact, it's not going to fucking protect you, so it won't matter which
I
side
know,
you
but the
wear
thing
it.
is, you then I'm spending time fucking around with
Well,
it,
the mask
turning
will
it
protect
inside
you,
out,
won't it?
thinking,
The
have
mask
I
will
got it the right way
protect you.
round?
It doesn't matter, just fucking wear it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you got it inside out.
Wear it over your eyes, man. Be
Yeah.
different.
Just wear a mask.
I do find it funny though that the people that do wear it and it's down there.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah,
cracks
that's
me
great.
up.
usually
Well, they
like
wear it
over there.
Yeah, the
like,
nose is
under
just
their
poking
nose.
out.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Are you fucking stupid?
I love it, man.
The corona gets to it and go, oh no, lads.
Can't go up the nose.
Can't go up the nose. The mouth's covered. No, go back. Hey, what the fuck? It's stupid, do you know what I mean? And in this country, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Well, we're a weird country, man.
Mate, they're bringing, apparently on Monday, they're going to bring in a free tier
Yeah, I've
system.
heard about that.
Yeah,
So
go
you
on.
have like local lockdown, and then you have like what we had in March, which is a full lockdown. Different tiers of it. So restaurants, bars close.
Yeah.
And then they put it into areas. But you can't police that. Say Gloucester goes into a lockdown.
Yeah.
How do they police that? You can't put a whole cordon around fucking Gloucester.
No, but they'll just fine people for going out and stuff like that, won't they?
Yeah, but I knew people that were going. You know, when Leicester was put in a lockdown
Yeah.
a while ago, there was people that were working. They were in and out of it. Nothing. Not in an issue. Nothing.
Yeah, but that's it. It's too hard to
Yeah.
enforce.
Exactly. Yeah. In Europe, I speak to my old man because he lives in Spain. They still have the same restrictions that they brought in from March. Yeah, they've lightened it up.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
can go
yeah,
on the
yeah.
beach, but then you're sectioned off.
Yeah.
You still have to wear a mask and things, but they're
You
all
have to wear a
keeping to
mask while swimming,
it. Well, you weren't allowed in swimming pools.
unless you had a mask.
No, you weren't even allowed in swimming pools. A lot of swimming pools were highly contaminated areas because you had multiple people going in and obviously
Yeah.
close contact. So
But
all swimming
chlorine
pools.
was
will
chlorine,
cure
yeah.
that, though, right?
We don't know to be
In your own swimming pool, fine. But in obviously, if you're in a complex, all the swimming pools were
well,
taped
they're
off. You
fucking
couldn't go
cack
in.
anyway. You always see plasters and that.
But it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the chlorine though. It's just the fact that you're in close contact
Yeah, I
with people in the
guess.
swimming
Yeah,
pool.
yeah,
do you know what I mean? And
I
plus,
suppose,
people piss in there. You know what I mean? You got verrugas and plasters.
Yeah.
God knows what else
you
is
see
in there.
shit float by.
I mean, but that's
Everyone
no,
goes a little.
that's
you know
no
what I mean?
different than being in a pub,
God's
though,
in it.
right?
Yeah. But
That's no different than being in a pub, though, right?
Well, I guess you're in the water.
yeah, but you're in water.
Yeah, but I mean,
You're not in water in a pub, are you?
In the pub, no fuckers wearing a
Aquapub.
mask. Everyone's drunk and out of it and kissing.
Yeah, but
each
there's a
other and
lot more.
hugging
They're
each
just
other.
Yeah.
saying there's a lot more fluids floating
Yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah.
Do you
It's
know
our
what I mean?
God-given right as Englishmen to go to the pubs, man.
This is our problem, you know. That's the whole problem
Do you know
with
what
it.
annoyed
Yeah,
me
that's
as
our
well?
problem,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So Boris has gone and said that on Christmas there's going to be certain expectations.
He's fucking Scrooge. He's like the Grinch.
But then
But blonde.
when
Yeah,
when
and
Muslims
fat.
had Eid like a couple months back,
You're
the
fucked,
whole
bruv.
fucking no, you're not allowed to go to the mosque and you're not allowed to do this and that and the other. It's like, okay, I understand we live in a country that's predominantly Christians.
Do you know why though? Because we don't go to church. That's the
really,
truth of the
yeah.
matter. If you
Yeah.
go to any church on a Sunday, there'd be a fucking handful of people
Well, a
in there.
lot of them
but if
don't.
you go
They
to a
do it all
mosque,
on Zoom.
yeah,
Yeah.
but a lot
Yeah.
of your mosques, your mosques are set up for the right reasons that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
actually go to there.
Yeah.
Our churches, there's no cunt in them.
When was the last time you went to church?
When I got christened.
Fucking hell. 200 years ago. man.
Actually, no, my sister's wedding, which was in 2000.
Oh, no, I mean...
I won't go into churches.
Yeah, I only go for
Is that
weddings.
because you're like burning, like
Yeah.
turning into ash?
Probably, I'd make the water boil. But no, I just won't go into them. It's like when me and Nancy went to
Nancy?
Cuba, one of my exes.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
And
Shout out
the
Nancy.
architecture.
Yeah, hold tight, Nancy.
Oh, Tony Nancy, word up. And we went to, well, she wanted to have a look at some of the architecture, and I'd have a look on the outside, but I didn't want to go in.
What-
Because I find it really insulting that it's laden with gold and everything. I find
Yeah.
it's like, you know, when the Pope does his fucking chat every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
The cunt's
Does
got a
his
fucking
chat.
600-foot fireplace. It's like, who needs a fucking fireplace? How big are the fucking logs?
Does he use it?
No, but it's a
You
big
would-
fucking
you'd have
fireplace
to.
with gold, everything. It's all marble. Everything's fucking gold. Even the fucking clothes have got gold in it.
Celebration.
And then he's
holy-
talking about poverty. It's like, you fucking cunt.
Yeah, there's a bit.
Sounds like a rapper.
It
He's a
basically is.
fucking pimp. He's a pimp daddy who comes in with this big hat and he's got everyone kissing his fucking rings.
Yeah.
Literally, and the other ring when all the other boys are fucking not looking. Do you know what I mean? And then he's spouting about, oh, you know what I mean, we've got to help the poor.
Have you ever heard about...
Your fucking ring would feed a fucking 1,000 people in Africa, you cunt.
Have you ever heard about secret bishops?
What's that,
What's
like a
that?
secret position for
No,
bishops?
no. It's so basically the Pope, he can make anyone within the kind of congregation, he can make them a bishop, but he doesn't have to tell them, and he doesn't have to tell anyone. So people can become bishops.
That's like
See,
Wank
not
Murder,
even
that game
know.
you used to play.
Hey,
And not even know.
not even know.
So what's the point then?
I don't know. And then, and
I
then
know
when
what
he
it
dies,
is.
it goes. I think they get the no.
So
I
basically-
could turn around and say, "Oh, the Pope made me a bishop," but he didn't tell anyone. But he didn't tell me. But I found
think
out
if the
by
yeah,
third
right,
it's
party.
really
I'm
weird,
just
man,
saying
secret
something.
bishops.
I think if the Catholic Pope made you a bishop, that motherfucker was smoking some serious crack.
yeah.
Because there's a few things that I'd like to point out here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Catholic Church would be in uproar. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie.
Why?
Do you know what I
Like,
mean?
let's talk
might
about
be-
why
it
can't
might
I
need
be a
some
bishop?
Do
unity.
you know what you
man.
do if you did, I'd love it if they made you the Pope.
That'd be great.
You could
I'd
pin the
walk
wheel
in-
up,
I'd walk in-
spinners on the fucking
Yeah.
Pope mobile, man, and everything. Hotboxing it.
I'd walk in and I'd be like, "Assalamu alaikum, brother."
and then it'll just start burning.
It's the melt.
Yeah.
Talking about
Raiders of the
burning
Lost
in,
Ark.
when you got boiling when you walk into the church.
Well,
Did
not me
you-
personally, but
Yeah.
They are hot.
Did you watch on Netflix? There was that the Bronx versus the vampires.
I haven't watched it yet.
You not watched it? Have you?
I'm gonna watch
watched
it tonight.
no. Is it some like B-rate?
No,
sort
no,
of-
it's kind of
actually
like an
pretty
80s
decent.
throwback.
It's kind of like a twist on like a modern version of Lost Boys.
Yeah, it's like a
That's
horror
a big
comedy
call, you know, because Lost Boys is
about
a
gentrification.
Yeah,
and,
it's up
Lost
that.
Boys is
Do you know?
good.
I watched that in
a
cinema
bad,
before COVID.
badass
They
film.
did. They did. You know when they
Yeah.
re-release. See,
I-
and even things like that, you're gonna miss
I
out.
did
on.
loads of those, man.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, because those are really, and you watched quite a few of those.
Yeah.
Those are like amazing because then, for me anyway, when I went
It
to watch
captures
that
a
Lost
certain
Boys,
period in time as well. Fashion, music, everything
Yeah.
about the 80s is a fucking bad. Probably one of the best vampire films.
Do you know?
Oh, definitely.
And that's a really good point because you know when I went to go and watch that film, I think my wife bought it for me as like a surprise sort of thing, and we went to watch it, right? And I wasn't born in the 80s; I was born in the 90s. But then everyone that watched it when they were in their teens or whatever came and watched it, and I'm looking at all these people that are a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
And then they're like sharing their stories and talking about like how it was
Yeah.
back then, and it gives you a better insight. And I guess in a way, it's kind of like a community
Yeah, it
of
is.
people that attend the cinema, and all of those sorts of things are going to miss out
It
on.
captures a certain
It's,
period.
it's like a time
Yeah.
capsule, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Certain things come along that capture
Yeah.
that everyone remembers.
The only
Yeah.
thing I didn't like about going to see those like retro screenings, because I did Halloween, obviously, I did Terminator, I did Predator, I did loads of them. But the only thing that I would have changed is I would have shown movie trailers from around that time,
Yeah.
showing what was coming out. Because
Yeah.
they would show you like all
yeah,
the modern
quite nostalgic
ones.
things.
They show you
yeah,
the
that'd
modern
be cool.
ones.
Even show
and
the
then it
old
would-
adverts that used to
Yeah,
have on the
that's
cinema.
what they-
They
that's
were
what they would have done.
hilarious.
Maybe we
That'd be
should
sick.
put in a request for that when they
Do a
re-
whole
open.
retro
I think
night.
there's
Yeah.
anyone who'd put
So
in a
do the
request too.
trailers that run at that time and then
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah.
Because they
That'd
do
be cool.
the secret cinemas, but they're kind of different. They're more
Yeah,
themed
they
to
do,
the actual.
yeah, they
film,
would do like
aren't
a
they?
whole theme and get you interacting. They're cool.
Yeah.
Oh
They're
man,
really
I used
cool.
to do Cineworld advanced screenings as well, and it would just
Oh,
be a
yeah,
secret
yeah.
film.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is, you just rock up and
Yeah,
see
it's
it.
like Lucky Dip.
Yeah. And if it was a shit film, you could just bolt. But more often than not, it was like a film.
pretty
that you-
decent
Yeah,
one,
it was
yeah.
a pretty decent film, and it was something that you wouldn't normally watch.
Yeah, I remember I watched the one with Daniel Craig and where he escapes prison.
Is that the one
And
with?
with the guy with the big nose from Star Wars.
Oh, Lucky
Logan.
Yeah.
I watched
Crazy
that as
Adam
a
Driver.
He's a crazy white bloke, isn't he? In it, isn't he?
like,
American crazy psycho.
I haven't seen it
Hugh
for
Daniel
ages.
Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I th- yeah,
Have
I've
you not
seen
watched it?
No, I haven't watched that.
Good film, but I watched that in Cineworld when it was like one of those
Yeah.
secret showings. And like things like that you're gonna miss, and even the trailers, like they
Trailers
have them
get
on
hype.
YouTube and stuff when films are coming out, but no one actually fucking watches them. You
I
more
don't know.
times
When you
see
get a big
trailers-
one,
Yeah.
you see like 12, 15 million people watch.
Oh,
it.
yeah, a lot of people
but I
watch
mean,
what
like,
you
it's,
do.
I think it's more like when you go to the cinema, you're expecting to see trailers of new films coming
Yeah.
out. Whilst you can put Netflix on, but you're not going to see no trailers.
Do you know what
before
it
the
is?
film.
And you don't know what the trailer is until you.
It's
see
just
it.
an evolution.
Yeah.
Right, back in the day when radio started,
Mm.
TV killed the radio star. Do you know what I mean? Radio
Sounds
was the big
familiar.
thing, and then TV came along, and then TV killed radio. Film then with cinema came along and killed a lot of TV. Everyone started going out. Now that we've got this is just an evolution of how
Yeah.
we have media. So from now on, you might still get cinemas every now and then, or even amphitheatres coming back with screens. You know, like the
Yeah.
open air things.
Oh yeah,
But predominantly now,
Oh,
I
mate,
think
I'd
the
love it.
future
I'd
is
love a
very
drive-in.
much home cinema. That's
Yeah,
just
a
the
lot-
way that we digest our films now.
A lot of
Yeah.
things are going on to
And
video.
now,
on
yeah,
on
now
demand, aren't
Cineworld.
they?
I mean, now they've gone down.
Yeah, it's
You
pretty much a
can't. So
done
I mean,
deal.
you're not going to see it. And you think when you've got Amazon Prime that make films now, Netflix make their own films.
Basically, every
Yeah.
streaming service.
A
makes
lot of
them.
them YouTube do it now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get funded YouTube films, short films, and stuff as
Yeah.
well. So I mean, so there's so
Madness.
many ways that they now digest it. That cinema is almost an antiquated way of getting your films now,
Yeah.
which is crap.
Yeah,
Because there's nothing better than seeing it on a huge fucking screen,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if you get a well-made film that's got a lot of really good special effects
Well, I'm
in
not
it.
really into many of the Marvel films, but
Yeah.
seeing them in the cinema,
yeah.
well, that was an experience.
Yeah,
seeing
definitely.
in
So-
Infinity War, man, was
Me
I
amazing.
saw
and-
Saving Private Ryan at the cinema.
Oh.
That fucking blew me away.
Yeah.
me
that'd
and
be
me and Haas watched. What was the last Star Wars film? I should know this.
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. We watched that in 4DX
Oh, that'd be
in the
sick.
Charlton cinema, and it was like unreal.
Yeah,
It was
it's just a
unreal.
totally different experience. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we're gonna lose that.
No, actually, tell a lie. It wasn't 4DX. It was the VIP screen, and you know when you got
yeah.
the lounge
I did
thing,
it.
Yeah.
you
I
got
watched
the
it in that.
buffet.
It was so that was so cool.
But I watched in 4DX. I watched Ready Player One.
Oh,
That's a badass film,
amazing.
man.
I saw
Um,
that in cinema.
I
That was
love the
sick.
references. It's one of my favourite Spielberg films. You know that?
Really?
Yeah, because I love the references. In
Yeah,
it,
it's
because
got
there's
so many.
so
I
many
remember-
references to my childhood.
I wonder how they got.
brilliant.
How they used a lot of that stuff.
Just paid Spielberg, innit?
But
Yeah.
the amount of things that you see.
Yeah, everything's advertised. Yeah, he would have paid everyone. He had to, but it was such a good way of doing it, nostalgic that
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
my generation loved that film. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people
Yeah.
my age because there's so many
I remember
things in there.
when they had opening battle. I remember seeing Freddy Krueger
Well, the
and
opening
Jason Voorhees
music.
getting shot. And
The-
as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I'm in."
The
I was
Shining
"There's so
scene
much
was
shit."
unreal.
Shining scene was awesome
Yeah.
as well. Man.
Yeah.
There's so many decent references.
That's why
to-
I heard that Van Halen song as well. When I first heard it, I
Oh,
heard
yeah.
it before, but then I heard it in that, and
Yeah.
like now when I listen to it, I associate it to that movie.
Such a sick film, man.
Yeah, that was. I was blown away by that. And it's not a too big a leap of faith to think that that's not possible now because
No.
VR now
Yeah.
is so good as well that you can get into that. And then, what is it? It's 2025 it
remember.
first started in the film, I think, wasn't it? Or
I can't remember, to be
2035.
Something.
It's not far in the future from where we are now
Yeah.
that this technology was then around.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it'd be around in our lifetime.
yeah, the way things
I
are
don't-
heading, like
Don't
if,
know about
if,
yours, but
if you look at the
maybe ours.
dynamics of like all the like films being at like home cinema and that, and gaming's a big thing at the moment, which you play at
Huge.
home.
Yeah.
No one goes to the arcade no more, do they?
No,
There is no arcades.
there's not any arcades anymore. I remember as a kid, like you used to have taxi ranks. This is going right back, and you'd have our proper arcades. where
Taxi
you-
ranks.
Yeah, the taxi rank would be there, and then there'd be like another room on the side of it. And this was the one that we used to go down in
I
Strood.
thought you meant you were watching taxi drivers fight or something like
No,
that.
you'd have an arcade.
You'd
and
do
then
that
obviously
as
the
well.
taxis
That-
there, man.
That's what your like entertainment was, just placing.
But they were
bets
all
on
sort of weird, sort of buildings, arcades back in the day. Do you know what I mean? They weren't run down, but there was certain.
it. They had a.
There's
They didn't really
quirkiness to a
have
certain
no
type.
like,
Yeah.
care to them.
Well, they sort of did, but it's probably run by pedos looking back at it now. It's just because it was full of kids and it was the 80s.
I don't-
Everyone was fiddling.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be a paedophile to open an arcade.
Yeah.
No, it's probably a prerequisite, though. It
Yeah.
probably helps. It probably is a big tick in the box.
But do you
Probably.
know what? Actually, there's a place in Gloucester Town Centre that
Oh shit! Yeah, there is. isn't
they're
there?
kind of like an arcade, but it is based more around VR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
That is making a
Glass-
bit
It's
of
like a
appeal.
big.
We went
room
there.
for-
I can honestly say that at the beginning of the experience, I was well up for it, and then me and Rob went on a racing game,
Yeah.
and it's but the whole thing moves.
Yeah.
He lasted a minute and was nearly puking up. I lasted about 3 minutes and then started feeling. I couldn't eat for
3
the
times
rest
his
of the
personal
night.
best.
I couldn't smoke anything. I was in a right mess. We took
Really?
the kids.
Really?
They were all loving it.
Oh yeah,
The
man.
kids were fucking loving it. Finn was in there. Rob's kids were there. Not an issue. And then I went on this thing. It's like a surfboard. Yeah, you sit on it, and you put this thing on, and it's a fucking roller coaster.
Oh, that's sick.
I forgot I'm in the shop, so I'm literally fucking screaming my head off, going "Fucking hell!"
Just
cunt."
screaming racial slurs.
Yeah, not racial slurs. I'm not racist. All right, I'm not racist. Let's get that fucking clear. But I was definitely using the C word a lot. It was blue. Do you know what I mean? I forgot that everyone
Yeah.
was there. took my fucking helmet off, all that fucking thing on. There's fucking loads of people in the shops. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
God,
mate.
I'm really sorry. Everyone's watching me. I'm making a right palaver.
That's so good, man.
But the worst part is, Rob's daughter then goes, I want to have a go on that. She gets on it, just sits there and comes off that with shit. I'm screaming my head off like I'm
Yeah.
going to fucking die. I'm like, fucking hell. She was just like,
But if she's done it before, that's probably it.
kids, they just... Equilibrium as well. As you get older, your equilibrium changes.
Yeah.
So going on VR machines is fucking...
Well, I
You've got to
remem-
be careful. It does turn your stomach and make
I remember
you
when I
sick.
took the jump from playing like Xbox to like PS3 and playing in high definition. I was playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion and I couldn't play it. It made me feel sick, like
Yeah.
playing it in high definition. And now, like, it's fucking easy. But at the time, I was like honestly close to vomiting from just playing a
Really?
game. Yeah, I don't know why.
Motion sickness?
Yeah, it was like my eyes just couldn't adjust to it.
Yeah.
High definition, man.
I mean, your lenses are pretty thick, to be fair.
This was pre-glasses, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
Just
that's
your
what
natural
fucked
eyes.
you
I think
up.
that's what fucked me up. Before that, I could see.
You're not
perfectly.
telling me the TV was there.
Yeah.
He's playing it at 2 a.m. like that.
Or as soon as I looked at like high definition graphics,
You could
I
see
just
the
took my eyes
pixels.
off and everything else looked shit.
Your eyes went into the matrix.
Yeah,
mate.
it just stuck in there, man.
No, man, fucking hell, I'll tell you.
I
Those-
love VR.
I love VR, but I don't like the motion ones, you know, in the cars.
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
That
yeah.
really
Yeah,
screwed
when you can
me
move at
up,
your own
man.
pace.
To
it's
be
a bit
fair, the
easier.
4DX in the cinema probably wouldn't be your best bet either.
I used
then.
to do the IMAX. You remember the old days
IMAX.
when
Yeah,
IMAX
yeah.
first started, and I remember going to one. And it was the roller coaster. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I used to watch everyone as well. Instead of watching the screen, watch everyone, and everyone's going. Do you know what I mean? You basically stand in a big room with a big fucking screen, and then you go on a roller coaster, and everyone fucking moves to it.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, it was like an IMAX thing. It was back in the day, man.
It was
Sounds boring as shit.
4DX.
Well, this was
That's
when
what
it
they,
was-
south.
that's when they first discovered moving pictures.
It was you were on a horse and car,
yeah, and you're just swaying.
and you had no brakes,
Yeah.
and you were going down a hill.
yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Women were fainting
Yeah.
through the terror.
yeah, yeah,
I was there to pick them up.
yeah.
Yeah, having a little cheeky look at the angle. She's fit.
Yeah, she'd get it.
We didn't call them, you called them fillies back in the day.
Phillies.
Phillies. Where does that come from then?
Fairly young filly. I know, such a horrible word. Posh people use it. Fillies is to do with horses.
Okay.
Oh, that's
A
great.
young horse is a filly.
I thought a young horse was a
Foal.
foal. Yeah.
But they call them fillies as well.
As
I might
a
be wrong.
nickname sort of thing.
It's
Yeah.
definitely horsey world. I know that much.
horse world's
And
fucked up,
toffs
isn't it?
use it a lot.
Toffs, man.
And dirty old men would use it. Young filly.
And you always know that those
I
girls
know.
who are like into horses start to look like horses.
It's true, isn't it?
They take it on. They get like really long faces and
That is true, you know. And they
Yeah.
say, you know, people with pets as well start looking like their animal. Like dogs, certain dogs start looking like their owners.
yeah. I don't know if that's just
Yeah,
like
I
Ron
think
Perlman
that's
looks like a dog,
bullshit.
doesn't he?
I don't know, you know.
I wouldn't say Marley looks anything like Sarah.
No, I think
It doesn't happen all the time. This is not like a bog standard
I think
thing,
it's
bruv.
old. I think it's like old people, isn't it? Like an old hairy man will have like an old hairy
Like, I
dog.
could see you with a Jack Russell with your beard.
I would
like
have a
that.
Jack Russell.
What
But
would
you,
I
with your
have,
beard,
Al?
I would interpret that as maybe a Jack Russell.
Or a whippet.
Or a red setter, maybe.
Red setter, yeah,
Yeah, that's
maybe.
an old school
What would
breed.
I have?
That's old school.
What would you have?
Yeah, what kind of dog would I have?
A Chihuahua.
Serious?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't really know many breeds of
Fuck
dogs.
You wanted me
round.
to go Mastiff. I know
Yeah.
what you wanted. You want
Nah.
a pit bull or something like that.
Yeah.
Nah.
I think I'd rather.
You're
a
getting a
cat.
maximum
Yeah,
Chihuahua.
I'd rather have a cat. Yeah. Superior animals in every way.
I don't like cats.
Why? What's your beef for cats?
Yeah.
They're arseholes. They just fucking do what they want. They don't
That's
give a fuck.
part of the appeal to
That's the
them.
beauty of
Look,
them.
when
That's
I
the
wa-
beauty, man.
with an animal, if I'm going to buy an animal,
Yeah.
for a pet for the family, I want to walk through the door and I want that animal to come and appreciate me that I've given it a good
Cats do
home.
that.
Fuck off.
My
Cats-
cat does it.
Yeah, every now and then, mate.
No.
But dogs will come up to you. They will fucking wag their tail. They'll pee on your foot.
Oh wow.
Do you know
That's
what I
I
mean?
want.
Because they love you.
I want someone to
They will
piss on
give
my
you
foot.
loads of emotion. A dog will spend 10 minutes greeting you if you want to. Do you know what I mean? If you drop your shit and play with a dog for 10 minutes, it loves you.
Yeah.
Cats, you might get, they
No.
saunter around.
If you,
They're
if,
too independent for me.
if you, I love it, man. If you,
But you're
show
quite
your
needy,
cat,
aren't
yeah.
you?
you want,
No.
you need a guide dog or something like that, man.
I'd love a guide dog. A guide dog would be fucking awesome. For the perfect reason that it would go and get shit for you.
Yeah. Just send it down for some like McVitie's.
Innit?
Yeah.
McVitie's as
Yeah,
well.
go down to the garage, boy.
You're now the old man. Go and get me the lovely
Do you
Do you know
Tyndall
what,
meat
like,
cake.
all jokes aside, I actually do prefer dogs than cats.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm
Nah,
just
cats
because
are sick.
exactly what Al said. I think they're great company and
They got more
they're
personalities,
more,
man.
They're more intimate, aren't they? They're more like
Yeah.
a family member opposed
Plus,
to a pet.
dogs are known for their smell and they can sniff out cancer. They even think they treat in dogs to sniff out coronavirus. That's no,
Yeah,
that's
that's
no
the thing, that's
bullshit.
the thing,
That
isn't
is
it?
fucking Jen as
Well,
well.
that's so funny.
Their noses are so fucking sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
It can sniff cancer out.
Yeah.
But they're like bred,
Before
aren't they?
you can even find it through, there's been stories of people that have a dog has been constantly sniffing their side, constantly. You fucking check you ain't got
Yeah,
BO
check-
in that.
check
But
your
then they
pets.
thought, no, this is serious because the dog's constantly having a
Yeah.
go. They've
Yeah.
gone to the doctors and the doctor's fucking hell. You actually have got a cancer or a tumour, and
Yeah.
it hasn't even been big enough for it to be found. Do you know what I mean? Through testing,
Yeah.
but it's suddenly there.
Yeah.
The dog has smelt it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Cats
Yeah.
can't do that.
They probably can. They just don't
Fuck
want
off.
They just don't want
They,
to.
but cats got healing properties, you know that?
Yeah.
With their purr.
Yeah, it can
Their
heal.
purr is known to heal.
I thought you were saying going to put the paws on your head and fucking
It just goes into your
Start
mind.
massaging you with their
They're
claws
like-
out.
Yeah.
apparently, if you stare into cat's eyes and sit in a bowl of water, you can go to hell. You not seen Constantine?
Is this one of those
I haven't
things
seen
you learned
Constantine
in...
for years.
is
I
this
saw
one-
when it came out.
Is this one of the things you learnt in like the 1800s?
Yeah. It's one of his old like witching stories.
No, it's Constantine. You never seen the film Constantine?
Keanu Reeves,
Keanu
I've
I
Reeves.
saw it when it came out. But that was
Where
like
he gets
2000.
the fucking cat, doesn't he? And he sits in a bowl of water and he stares at the cat, and then apparently you go to hell.
As in, like your soul goes to hell. When
Yeah,
you die,
I
or
mean,
you instantly.
We're talking
teleport.
about a fictional film here.
Are we go? Hell's fiction then. Cool, we cleared that one up.
Oh, we caught him. We caught him.
Checkmate.
yeah.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
We can now have a proper podcast.
Podcast over.
Right, Jesus, what a cunt.
No.
Nah.
You got
Next,
bare
we're
love
gonna
for
do-
Jesus.
Yeah.
We're going to do painting. Painting profits.
Let's not.
Yeah. Let's.
All right then. Paint by numbers. I'm leaving this one out.
Here's one for you,
True
Dan. With the podcast, the cinemas, and all the other creative fields.
Yeah.
Our good friend in politics has said that creatives should retrain and find a different trade. What was his name?
Rishi Sunak, I think
Rishi
it is.
Sunak.
I know it's Rishi. Dishy Rishi.
Dishy Rishi.
That's what some women call it.
Rishi, why?
Oh, is he good looking?
Apparently, some people find him good looking. It's like Pretty Patel. I find her good looking.
Have you seen the spitting
Right.
image of Pretty Patel? It's hilarious. They have her in leather, like she's some dominatrix, and all the other bloody like politicians
Yeah.
come to her. She talks about deficit and
yeah,
screwing the
don't-
poor over, and they're like that, with her nipples going, "Oh yeah, yeah."
Yeah, she has that vibe to her, man.
She has like a. I would definitely. Back
Yeah,
that.
I would. But back to what Adu's saying about Rishi Sunak. Yeah, let's not
Yeah.
go too deep down a rabbit hole. But yeah, he's been saying that people need to should retrain.
What's your thoughts on
Sorry, I just had her in suspenders. Sorry, I went totally off then, man. I was just like, yeah.
that? Well,
I'd
you're gonna have to
fuck her.
retrain your mindset because
Yeah.
being
fuck
creative
that shit.
isn't.
No, I'm doing his good music. He can fucking kiss my ricker if I'm going to go from being a fucking musician to a fucking plumber just because that cunt says you got to retrain. I tell you what, cunt, you retrain being a fucking human being and a politician.
You could be a baker.
And then you can make fucking decisions about my life. Sort your own shit out. Don't go around preaching to the poor and the fucking arts world that they got to change their jobs. Fuck you, cunt. Sort the problem out yourself because we put you there and don't rely on us to do it.
And the biggest thing is, it's not like everybody in lockdowns not been listening to music, watching fucking thousands of hours
The
of
world
TV.
would be
Yeah.
fucked without the arts.
Yeah, of course it would.
The whole of civilization.
Economy would.
People started in the fucking caves bonging drums together before they were talking. So fuck you in your politics.
Yeah, you did that.
There were
You
jungle
there,
drums
man.
beating way before the fucking politics. So don't tell me I've got to change my fucking job to help everyone out.
But do you think?
Take a fucking pay cut, you politicians. You just had a fucking pay rise.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
There's also that.
Guy Fawkes, man. Fucking cunt should have done it.
Guy Fawkes.
I suppose in hindsight, with their whole pay rise, I don't know the whole ins and
Yeah,
outs
I
of
don't
it.
know they got
But
one.
maybe they should have invested that into the arts rather than everyone getting a pay
They
rise.
get enough fucking money.
They did apparently they did like a 10 billion relief package, but I mean I know a lot of musicians to people within the arts, but I know a lot of musicians who obviously
Got
didn't get
fuck
any of
all.
that, and I'm talking like career
Yeah.
musicians didn't
Yeah.
get anything.
Yeah, of
And
course they didn't.
I mean it's the amount of money that the arts generates for the economy is
Huge.
like 130 billion or something like that.
That's madness.
And it's one of the biggest things. And
Well, you
it's
think
an export
Pinewood has been
brand.
taken over by Walt Disney for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
The what? Sorry.
Walt Disney will take over Pinewood for the next 10 years. They've leased
wow.
it. So you think how much profit that is, how much
Yeah.
generates that? So then you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
yeah.
all the theatres and you think all the music, everything.
yeah.
It is that fucker should lose his job for that. He's a
1.57 billion. was the-
1.57 billion.
Yeah, package represents the biggest ever one-off investment into UK culture and will provide a lifeline to vital culture. and
That's a
heritage
drop in the ocean.
Yeah, drop in the ocean.
That is an absolute joke.
More than 350,000 people.
There you go.
Recreation and leisure centre.
So there's nothing. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's not much of a relief package.
No, it's not a relief package. That's just putting like that's like fucking being on the Titanic and saying I'll put my fucking finger in it. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Don't worry, lads.
I'll get a
You know what I
handful
mean?
and scoop it
Right,
out.
you know, Don't worry.
We're done.
I got this. Oh fuck.
See your
Do you know what I
finger
mean?
freezing.
We're gonna be all right.
Fine,
And then your fucking toes coming out. There's another crack.
Only another 12 hours.
Go away. We're gonna fucking die.
Do you think though, like playing devil's advocate? Do you think he has a point though?
No,
not. Do you
Not
do
in
you
any
think-
shape or form, bruv.
What about people that like aren't able to they're on the come up of their their creative career and they're not potentially making
Why should we stifle their creativity? Because the world's fucked up. Because the government didn't get a hold of this when they should have done. This is their fault, the position we're
Yeah.
in now. So
Yeah.
why should we now have to suffer their mistakes? Why should I say to a 17-year-old, sorry, mate, I'm stifling your creative person. You could have been one of the best directors we've
Yeah.
had in this country, but no, I want you to go and work on the fucking railways.
And a lot of the venues I played
It's a
at
joke.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
they'd close because they can't sustain to be open.
Yeah.
And for me, when I first started playing in bands, playing in like dive
Theatres.
bars and
Yeah, anything
small
like that.
places like that,
Brunswick.
which would close.
Is your bread and butter.
That's your bread and butter. That's
Yeah.
where you learn your craft.
Yeah, that's been the age-old thing, going back all the
Yeah.
way. Do you know what I mean? And not only that, if you go right back, British culture is built on the arts. Shakespeare, Wordsworth,
Yeah.
all these big, fucking huge men in the arts world. We'd be nothing without all of this. So him to turn around and say shit like that is so fucking naive and
Yeah.
stupid. It's
Yeah.
a stupid comment.
It is.
And I guess going back to what you said about like people are spending a lot of time at home listening to music, watching Netflix, even playing games,
Yeah.
those are all part of the creative industry. And for you to say, oh, well, you need to go and retrain, there's going to be less of that at home eventually.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be, twiddling their thumbs like,
Yeah.
The thing is, he's saying go and retrain, but there's so many people that are unemployed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, I go and retrain, but are you going to pay? I've just done a degree. Are you now going to say to student finance that you're now going to pay for me to retrain and get another degree so I can
Yeah,
now
yeah.
become proficient in that
Yeah.
career? Because at the moment, if I want to do that, I've got to pay for it. So what are you going to do then?
Yeah, and
It's stupid.
Look at artists who have invested in equipment. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've probably got like a couple of grand of drum stuff, and that's
And that's base level.
Yeah,
That's just
base level.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just
Some of
like for the love
yeah,
of the art.
For the love of it.
If you're serious about it.
some of the studios I've been to, have in the tens of thousands of equipment.
The boys that film this,
Yeah.
they've got their own equipment. It's
boys.
basically saying to them,
Big
do
A.
you know what?
Shut the fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. Go and get an ice cream van, you cunt.
Yeah, be a baker.
Do you know what I mean? Be a
it's
baker.
brutal, isn't it?
It is fucking so... But that's a fucking conservative... no, it's not a conservative. That is a politician who has no grasp on reality.
Yeah.
I'd love to know his background,
Yeah.
to see where his thinking has... How this thinking has come about. Because obviously, I reckon he was shit at the arts at school. Probably didn't like music.
Yeah.
Shit at acting. It was probably a little cunt that no one likes. Probably head boy. Gave out lines to people, you little cunt. Do you know what I mean? He's always snitching on them. And then they went, oh, you'll be a good politician. And then he was in the Young Conservatives or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Right little fucking swat.
I don't really know much of his background.
No,
But it
he
wouldn't
was alright.
surprise
He
you,
was
though,
the-
that, do you know what I mean?
He was the one who came up with Eat Out to Help Out. That was his initiative.
Do you know what is really good, though? A quick change of subject.
Go
There
on.
was the light in the darkness this week. It was Marcus Rashford.
Oh,
is
yeah.
getting a fucking OBE for his
I think
work
he was
they
getting
did.
MBE.
MBE, yeah,
Yeah, let's
for
talk
his
about
work.
that.
Because that's fucking brilliant. Now, he could be the very first Manchester United player that will get a standing ovation at Anfield
Yeah,
for the
I
work
heard
he
about
done,
this,
because
yeah.
he really
Yeah.
did.
But the shitty thing is
pushed-
he shouldn't have to do it.
No, it's an absolute
Yeah,
joke.
do
you know what I
Kids
said
would go
to-
without food. It's like, are you off your
If it wasn't for
fucking
some
rocker?
fuck-
Do you know
fucking
what I
Manchester
said to
United
one of
player.
my listen to? I said to one of my colleagues yesterday, right? Because we were talking about it, and I said to him, "Isn't it great that he's getting an MBE for providing food to children during the whole
Yeah,
pandemic?"
but isn't it
And
sick
he
for
was
how to
like,
do it?
"Oh yeah, it's great." And I goes, "Isn't it really sad that the politicians got a pay rise, and we're relying on a professional football player that gets
To do their
paid
job.
privately? Not privately, paid from like someone that owns a club privately, not someone from the public or from the government, and we're relying on him to pay for this country's
He's come from the private
children's-"
sector, basically,
Yeah.
and there's now relying on a politician
If he
who should have
wasn't,
been
yeah,
doing
if
it.
he wasn't such like a good-hearted person, he would have been like, "Fuck him! I'm not going to give him anything."
Yeah.
And they would be go without food. It's fucking
Yeah.
madness.
I briefly listened to his interview, and he was saying that,
It's
like,
humble.
hopefully that me doing this, other people will step forward and,
Yeah.
contribute
Well,
to the problems we have in society. And you think, like, that's a young black male, just a young person.
Yeah.
Normal educated
From-
as well, no
yeah,
highly
no-
educated, nothing.
And
Just a
he's
normal.
just gone
I
out of
know.
his way, props to his parents or whoever's brought him up.
But it's not even a race thing, though.
No,
He's
no,
just-
no,
He is,
race out the
No,
equation.
but
Yeah.
it's saying a young black
But-
thing, though. You can
yeah.
understand if he decided to help young black people, he had more entitled
Yeah,
to. But
yeah.
he's basically turned around and gone, no, kids in
Everyone,
general.
Yeah.
everyone.
Which is sick that
Yeah.
politicians don't do that.
I just find it quite mind-boggling that they're throwing money at this, and this, but down to the basic thing of children
I
not
know.
having food
Yeah.
to eat in England, in the United Kingdom,
Yeah.
and we have to rely on a football player to do that. That's just madness.
It is, isn't it?
It is madness.
But
But
you
so-
know, go on.
Well, some people think that because obviously we're on for a big recession and stuff
Yeah.
like that, the UK, it might slip into being like a second world country,
Well, I'm not fucking surprised if politicians getting pay rise and no one's looking
Yeah.
after the children of this country.
Society might, but the country won't, because a few years ago the government made a conscious decision to invite big business into this country.
Yeah.
So that's why you've got so many big businesses that don't pay a lot of taxes. We've become a haven for corporations now.
Well, they can operate
Oh,
without.
yeah, because we
paying
don't
tax.
manufacture much.
No,
It
we
used to be a
don't.
massive manufacturing, do you know what I mean? And you look at the Industrial Revolution and then in the car companies in the 60s and 70s, we were
Yeah.
a mass-producing country. Manufacturing was huge.
Especially
And
in
then-
stuff like rail.
Yeah,
Everything, infrastructure,
Yeah.
cars. We had more car firms going in this country than anyone. We had hundreds of them going in the
and
60s
you
and
just sold
70s.
it off, right?
Well, they just all went bankrupt, and then we started importing.
Yeah.
But then it got to the point where we couldn't do that. So what did they do? Invite big business in. You go to London now, you look at it, it's investment capital of the world.
Yeah.
London. We invite money. That's our thing.
But we don't make money.
But
From
there's
grassroots.
Yeah.
there's a thing called the trickle down effect that's supposed to happen where the
Supposed
rich
to.
make their money and it trickles down. It's bollocks. It doesn't
Yeah.
trickle down. It just goes like that. At
It
the
just
top.
stays up.
Yeah, it just loops at the top, and every now and then little bits of crumbs fall off
Yeah.
that then we get.
And then they boast about it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
25, maybe 20 years ago, when you went into a job, it was not a normal thing for you to be told that every year you would get a pay rise,
Yeah.
and that if you did well, that you could then go and get a pay rise. You go into most jobs now, like mediocre normal jobs, you don't get pay rises.
No, you
No,
can't.
you don't. No.
You don't. You never get. It never even gets spoken about. It's like we don't do that here, and that is a normal thing now across the. And then you have your 0-hour contracts as well. Do you know what I mean? It's it is brutal. It is basically oppression on the poor again, and yet they always keep saying this lie about the money will always trickle down.
It just trickle down economics don't work, man.
But do you know what, actually, going back to Marcus Rashford, maybe we should all clap for him on that day when he goes out and plays against Anfield instead of like.
It's
know.
you know
Do
what
you
I
reckon
mean.
do you reckon he will get a standing ovation?
Yeah, because of his work. They were on about it
Then
on
the
one of these.
boo.
There's a podcast I watched of Red Men TV. It's about Liverpool. It's a really good podcast, but they were talking about it as well, and they were just saying, I think one of them was saying he should do because it's not about football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
because there would have been kids in that stadium or parents in that stadium that would have.
Would have suffered if that.
Would have
yeah.
actually been getting the meals that he helped to get. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you forget, even when they went to lockdown, there were a lot of kids in care. There's a lot of kids that go to special needs school that didn't go, that needed to still
Yeah.
go to school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they had to be provided for. And the government didn't give a fuck.
Madness.
They would have quite easily just gone, "Mwah, mwah," and then last minute thrown something at it, and then just, it wouldn't have even put into the consciousness. Do you know what I mean? It would have been something that we would have read about later on or when it
Yeah.
was too late. But he was like that, nah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he got it extended as well. But the irony is, though, like you said, that he has to fight tooth and nail and then he even had to get the extension. Yet now they're going, well done for that.
Yeah.
Hold on, you're the fuckers I've been having to battle and now you
Resistance,
want to
yeah.
give me a fucking title for it.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what I'd say? Fuck the title.
Yeah.
Make this mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
keep
mean?
it
That
going.
this always happens. Do you know what I mean? If there's ever a crisis, the first thing that gets implemented is to make sure that the kids are always fed.
People have more
That
clout if they've
yeah,
got a
that
title,
parents will
don't they?
always know that they're not going to struggle, that their kids aren't going to eat. Because that's a massive stress on a parent. I know I've done it myself with Finn years ago where I haven't had enough money, but I've made sure he's eat and I've not eaten. And a
Yeah.
lot of parents do that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
will skip meals to make sure that their child is fed.
Yeah.
You do that as a
It's
responsible
so fucking
parent.
grim, isn't
But
it?
it's
You
a
have to do
fucking,
that.
it is a shocking
I
fucking
know
statement. You have to do it.
When my brother was born, my older brother, I think my uncles ordered a pizza and they robbed the pizza man because we were just too broke
Yeah.
and unfortunately that's the way
Yeah.
some people live. Obviously not resulting in crime, but some people
I
are
would-
desperate, aren't they?
Yeah.
I would struggle, especially if you got someone shoplifting and the items that they were buying, you could clearly see that it wasn't for shit or they were just some junkie or some shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
nonsense.
it was
Yeah,
for
yeah.
nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
This person was struggling, like nappies,
Yeah.
formula for milk.
Yeah.
I know you can get coupons and tokens, but in some
Food banks
circumstances,
and-
that
Yeah.
just is
And
impossible.
sometimes that's not even enough.
And
Yeah.
I would hate to be the person that would have to nick someone for that. It would
Yeah.
really hurt because
Yeah.
I know that person now has now got to have to go through they've got the stress.
Would you nick them then?
Well, yeah, because if it's on camera and the shop says it, you can't not.
It depends what
Yeah.
the supermarket or the shop's
And that's
policy
it.
is.
If their
as
policy
well,
is
innit?
that,
If
though,
it was
isn't
like
it?
But what if you
prosecute them-
worked at the shop and you saw them do it? Would you be like,
I suppose it's a HR position.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a difficult
It
one,
goes above you. Do you know what I
I
mean? I
mean,
suppose their policy is, and you'd
But
be.
you could probably-
fucking
you
You'd
could turn-
like
you
to
could probably
think
turn a
that
blind
the
eye,
human behind the
Has a
counter
conscience.
that
Would.
saw them is like, if they're going to stop and speak to them and say to them,
I'll just
okay,
buy
what
it.
have you got? And
Yeah.
then look in the bag. And if it's things like basic necessities,
Yeah.
then you'd like to think they'll pull them in the office and say, well, actually, what you've done is a crime, but we can see you're in need. So here, have some
Yeah.
other stuff that's probably going to go out of date in the next day or
Yeah.
two. Take that with you as well.
There was a
You'd like to think.
You'd like to think.
I
that.
think I don't think we're doomed that much. I think there's still a lot of good in it because I read an article a while ago and it was about a woman that worked in McDonald's and she was on the drive-through and she heard one of the blokes saying to his mum, like, "What do you want something? You know, I haven't got much, but do you want something?" And she then let him drive round and said, "No, don't worry, I'm going to pay for your meal."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had phoned his mum up and asked. He didn't have a lot of money, but he still wanted to make sure that his mum was fed. And she went,
Yeah.
obviously, I knew that he was hard up. So she went, no, you don't have to pay
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it.
And
And
you
there's
do get-
little
you do
things
get
like
those
that,
good
man.
Samaritans, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
And in today's world, man, you need some more of that shit,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Because I think governments are trying to turn us almost, not Nazi police, but you're getting people now that are dobbing on each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not wearing your mask. Do you know what I mean? We're always coming sort of a police state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got to be very careful. You don't lose that sort of neighbourly sort of love and that
I
helping.
mean, for me, culture war always should take a backseat to class war. You know, culture
Always.
war's always what's spun up
Yeah.
So that we don't go, well, actually, there's such a massive disparity, whatever, between the rich and the poor,
Yeah.
that maybe we could look at taxation more, funding more
It's got to be
projects.
when you've got someone like Bezos who's made did he make like 26 billion just through this lockdown
Made
or
a lot of
something
money,
stupid?
man.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Which is
how
madness.
much money is enough?
Yeah. I mean, if I had $1 billion,
There
that's more
should be
money
a
than I
cap.
could spend in a lifetime.
They should. They would never do it because society and do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
the way that it is will never do it. But they should say once you hit $1 billion, you've got $1 billion in cash or in the bank. Anything you make after that has to go back into society.
Yeah.
Because you're never gonna.
But unfortunately, the way tax works is like the people that are earning an average wage pay a lot more in terms of ratio than people that are on billions, etc.
Well, the irony is, the more money you make, sometimes when you get into that 1%, you don't pay tax.
Yeah.
You find because you'll have the best lawyers, you have the best
Yeah,
accountants.
you can
You'll
get
find every
loopholes.
loophole possible, and you can hold a country to ransom. Imagine you're Bezos, and the Americans say, right, we're going to start taxing you. Fuck off. I'll just take my entire business and leave your country. So that's X amount of thousand jobs gone.
Yeah.
I'll just go and set up somewhere else where they're not going to charge me
Yeah,
anything.
then-
they have to keep them sweet.
There
don't
should
they?
be ways in which you can do it. Because a lot of them are based elsewhere, aren't they? A lot of them
Yeah.
base themselves elsewhere, but still operate in the country.
Yeah, well, they
Tax
do.
purposes.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
but you
that
should
as
say
well,
if
don't
you're
they?
operating in our country,
Yeah.
Fucking
then
right.
you pay.
But again,
Doesn't
though,
matter where
like
you're based.
you can't justify someone being worth like 200-300 billion
It doesn't make sense, does
Yeah.
it?
because there's nothing in the world that costs that much to buy. Do you know what I mean? All right, unless you're going to buy a fucking nuclear power station and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Though
Even then.
intrinsically, that you have so much money that
You couldn't spend that money on a
yeah.
lifetime.
Do you know what I mean? There's no point to having that much. There's no point in having that much when you've got people like
Yeah.
living in absolute poverty.
And if you
There's
had
no
that
point
much,
to it.
wouldn't you feel like I could, if I had 300 million or 300 billion, I could be like, well, I'm gonna keep 50 billion, and I'm gonna spend 250 billion on everybody else, improving everybody around the world's
Yeah,
quality
you
of
can-
life, and still have 50 fucking billion.
You
I
can
know.
essentially
Madness.
like rebuild your hometown. I mean, like 50
Well,
Cent did
rebuild
it.
your
Hometown, you could
yeah.
rebuild a country.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like 50 Cent did it in the sense of I think his whole street where his grandmother used to live, he bought all the houses for the residents, and Anthony Joshua did the same. in
Yeah.
his
Do you know
Tower
what you
block.
find? People that don't come from much, who then get lots of money, will do more with it than people that have just gone, you know, like fanciers,
Yeah.
financiers, or
Yeah.
people that have been around money most of their lives. They don't do it for the love of money. I get it with business. They do it for the thrill of it. It's
Yeah.
it's getting that contract. It's closing
Yeah.
that deal.
Yeah.
Money becomes a side product. But that's fine if it's a side product. But that side product can do so much more good than just being sat there
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
fucking
definitely.
hedge funds or accounts sat around the world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you're dropping 50 million on artwork and stuff.
It's madness because you get to the point where people are not pragmatic with the money at all. Like 50 Cent buying all of those houses. That's a great thing to do,
Yeah.
and you can tell that he really wants to give back. But the
Practicality.
problem is he's gone bankrupt several times over.
Yeah,
yeah.
And a lot of the people who do
Akon
that
did it. He went to Africa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
just-
But he's still.
I mean, he's
like,
still
doing
doing-
that, ain't he?
He's still doing it, but I think
Yeah.
he's pretty pragmatic.
He's
about
doing it the right way.
Yeah,
Infrastructure.
yeah, he's
Infrastructure,
he's
yeah.
doing it the right
Do you know
way.
what I mean?
I mean,
Bill Gates does it. He's a rare one. I give him his due, even though he's
yeah.
become Mr. Evil now.
Yeah,
do you know
yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
right.
He's suddenly in the last few months, he's
Yeah.
like the Helen DeGeneres of the billionaires. He's like
Ellen DeGeneres.
I mean, in regards to the whole creative topic, I would say any young person or any person out there that heard that and a bit disheartened, I would say, fuck what
'em.
he said.
yeah, keep
Right,
going.
do what makes you happy. If singing
the
makes
fucking
you
bird to
happen,
him.
sing to your content. Writing, drawing, making music, anything, because
The world is nothing without the arts.
The
Yeah.
realistic thing is people come to you for entertainment, for joy. They don't go to politicians to look for their plumbers, electricians, or
Yeah.
the rest of it for joy. And ultimately, we all live this life to be happy.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And if those things make you happy, fucking do them.
And at a time like this, when everything's
You
shit,
need it.
you need entertainment, man.